Welcome to today's Explainer. We're doing something a bit different this time. We are literally stepping into a shadow. We're going to explore a fascinating, deeply symbolic parable. It's this dark, highly theatrical tale that's just dripping with the metaphorical ink of lost history. And look, this isn't just some random fantasy story, okay? It is a profoundly modern cautionary tale about the very real dangers of media manipulation and how our reality can be, well, entirely rewritten.
The old gods were gone, replaced by a fabricated story. Man, that sets a chilling tone right off the bat, doesn't it? In this explainer, we're going to follow the shadow of a bard who figures out exactly how to wipe away objective truth completely and replace it with something he absolutely controls. We're going to unpack the incredible, honestly terrifying power of narrative manipulation, piece by piece, as we walk through this 5-act parable.
All right, let's jump right into Act 1, Discovery in the Ruins, or Unearthing the Twilight.
So picture this. Our story kicks off in the absolute ruins of the old world. We're talking about a massive spiritual vacuum where all the old truths have just started to decay. And right here, the shadow of our bard stumbles upon something incredible, hidden away in an ancient temple. It's a mystical note titled The Twilight of the Old Gods. Now, this wasn't just your standard sheet music. It was written in this really unique script that literally held the essence of every single divine throne that had ever crumbled. The bard instantly recognized what this was. He knew it formed the core of something called the Scavenger's Overture. This right here, this is the crucial inciting incident. It marks the very beginning of the end for objective truth, the exact moment the ultimate weapon of mass manipulation is discovered.
Moving right along to Act 2, Tuning the Traitor's Vial, the Dark Preparation.
I want you to imagine thick, monochromatic smoke just swirling around as the bard begins his incredibly methodical preparation. You see, playing this specific note requires a very dark, very specific kind of readiness. Step 1, he actually restrings his vial with a traitor's gut. Step 2, he tunes the pegs to the breaths of forgotten kings. Think about that for a second. He is literally weaving betrayal and forgotten history directly into his instrument. By doing this, he's preparing himself to become the ultimate mediator of reality, basically bridging the gap between the heavens and the world. He's strategically positioning himself to be the sole filter through which truth passes.
Which brings us to Act 3, Revealing the Divine Collapse, Smoke and Truth. Okay, so the preparation is totally complete. The bard finally draws his bow and plays that first devastating chord. And as it strikes, the knowledge held within that note doesn't manifest as a brilliant light. No, it appears as smoke. And within that dark smoke, the actual deaths of the deities are revealed to him. But here's the absolute most chilling realization of it all. Why did they die? The gods faded because they simply ran out of stories. Truth and divinity actually perish when they no longer have stories to sustain them in the public mind. Without a narrative, even gods just cease to exist.
And that sets up Act 4, Rewriting the Void, the art of manipulation.
Seeing this incredible, glaring vulnerability, the bard makes his move. He catches the old god's leaking power so he can manipulate this twilight for his own personal ends. He starts what's called the rewriting of the void. He literally takes the actual divine collapse and just weaves it right into his own propaganda, actively making the very memory of the gods a recurring nightmare. He takes divine truth, dissolves it completely into the mist, and then uses that mist as a dark inkwell to write his entirely new reality. At this point, he's no longer just a scavenger of misery, just passively observing the tragedy from the sidelines. By filling that spiritual vacuum with his fabricated stories, he has fully evolved into an architect of myths. He is fabricating the new world's memory from the ground up, using the literal ink of destroyed truths.
Finally, we hit Act 5, Walking into the Ash, the masterpiece of grief. The overture is complete. The new narrative is permanently set. And the song ended in silence. Just let the heavy, haunting weight of that silence sink in for a second. In this absolute, utter quiet, the true devastating cost of his manipulation is finalized. The bard looks around and realizes that because he alone holds the secrets of the twilight, he is the only god left in this completely fabricated world. Just look at the sheer scale of what was destroyed to build his throne. All of this was lost to the ink and smoke, the preservation of divine truth, the essence of crumbled thrones, the breaths of forgotten kings. The authentic history of the world was essentially burnt to the ground and replaced by a masterpiece of grief. And the bard,
He simply walks into the ash of the history he destroyed.
Let's wrap up with the architect of myths and the modern warning. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter to us today? Why are we analyzing the shadow of some mythological bard? Well, because we need to drop the metaphorical veil for a minute. Controlling the narrative of the void becomes the surviving power. When our history is lost and society enters this sort of informational vacuum, whoever wields the ink totally controls our reality. The surviving power doesn't belong to the most truthful person, it belongs to the one who can write the most convincing myth into that empty space.
Which leaves us with this final, genuinely chilling thought as the ash settles. Really think about the media you're consuming, the narratives you just naturally accept, and the stories that are shaping your entire worldview. In a world full of fabricated stories, whose ink is writing your reality? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, stay curious.